Hello, good morning. Welcome to Gaming Insight for Thursday, October 2nd. I'm Steve Saylor. This is your sometimes daily show of gaming news, accessibility news, or updates about my life. I have coffee in my Xbox Gaming for Everyone Braille mug today. Very coincidental. I did not purposely choose this mug. It just, was in the rotation. Because today we're going to be talking about some pretty hard to talk about news when it comes to Xbox. If you have been hiding under a rock or have been avoiding the news, the gaming news as of yesterday, don't worry, it's fine. It's not fine, but I'll talk about it in a minute. A little bit of housekeeping, though. I did actually do a video of this week that not a lot of people have watched, which is fine. No, it's definitely off the algorithm as far as this channel goes, but it was something I wanted to talk about. I'll leave a link to it in the description. It's basically how I talked about how I use this A5 journal to be able to track habits and also to journal, write down notes for projects and stuff, keep track of stuff. I've been, and also sleep schedule, all that stuff. I talked about how I did this for basically the past 30 days, and we're in a new month. I'm starting a new fresh habit tracking. Then go check it out. I would really appreciate it. Definitely did not get as much love yesterday because hey, it just didn't pop up in people's news feeds. It's fine, or subscription feeds. Fine. All right. Today, I have several thoughts of how I want to be able to tackle this topic. But I think it's probably best to start from the beginning of where I initially had thought I wanted to discuss. And that deals with the news that Xbox Game Pass is increasing its price by 50%. This is an article on VGC written by Jordan Midler. The Xbox Game Pass Ultimate will now cost $29.99, or that's dollars, or £22.99, but will also be getting new additions such as Fortnite Crew and the Ubisoft Plus Classics Collection. Microsoft claims that Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscribers will get access to over 75 day one titles each year. Call of Duty, Black Ops 7, High on Life 2, Keeper, Ninja Gaiden 4, and The Outer Worlds 2 are all slated for the remainder of 2025. Xbox Game Pass now breaks down into the following three tiers. We got Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which is, like we said, $29.99 per month, was originally $19.99 per month. Xbox Game Pass Premium, which was formerly called Standard, is $14.99 a month. It was $11.99 previously. And then lastly, Xbox Game Pass Essential, which was formerly called Core, is $9.99 per month. PC Game Pass will still remain available as a separate subscription for PC-only games, but this will now see its price increased from $11.99 per month to $16.49 per month. As part of today's announcements, Microsoft has added dozens of games to the service, including a large number of Ubisoft games to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Microsoft has released an infographic breaking down the changes. I won't go through each individual sort of thing because it's very confusing as far as what is broken up between Essential, Premium, and Ultimate. Ultimate let's just put it this way. Ultimate, you get everything. You get day one, you get all the games, you get special benefits for like Fortnite Crew, you get also the Ubisoft Plus, you get all that stuff. But there is what it really comes down to is the premium stuff that I wanted to talk about. Oops, sorry, I clicked off the thing. Is basically what that gets, because Essential you kind of get, you get cloud gaming, you get benefits, you basically get to do multiplayer. That's basically kind of it. You just get unlimited cloud gaming on the games you have, and also access to 50 plus games. But that's basically about it for $10. The 200 games plus games for premium, you get them because you get new Xbox published games within a year of launch, but they have an asterisk to that does not include Call of Duty games. You get unlimited cloud gaming with shorter wait times, which basically means that it's not going to it's going to be somewhat instant when you play cloud gaming on unlimited or ultimate, but when it comes to premium, you have to wait a little bit for cloud gaming to load, which is kind of, I hate that. We're talking like net neutrality type sort of like ideals where, oh, you pay extra, you get the best, fastest service. Whereas like if you don't pay as much, you're not getting as fast of a speed. You're not getting the good broadband, as it were. And then you get in-game benefits, including for Riot games, you get multiplayer, and yeah, you get 200 plus games per month. That's basically kind of it. The premium is the thing that kind of sort of changes now. And if you want to know what the Canadian price is for all this, they have updated that as well. For Essential, it's now $14 per month. So from difference between $9.99 in the States, it's now $14 Canadian per month. Premium is $17.99 per month, which is basically compared to the, $14.99 per month. That's premium. So basically what I believe like Ultimate used to be not even 14 months ago. I think not even 2 years ago. And then Ultimate is $33.99. That's right, $34 per month. I broke it down at one point. I was like trying to figure out, okay, what was the bit like before when Ultimate first came out. We'll just even go for that. We're not going to go when Game Pass first started because that was back in 2017. Different time, different landscape. When Ultimate came out, which essentially was Xbox Game Pass plus Xbox Live Gold, it was $14.99 per month, American. I was trying to find the Canadian pricing, couldn't find but I couldn't find it. The American pricing was the only one I could find. It was $14.99 per month. If you broke it down per month, based off of at the time in 2019 when they first introduced it, games were around $60 per game for a premium AAA game, or just a premium game in general. We hadn't even really hit the $70 price tag as of yet. You would only need to pay 2 to 3 games in a year to be able to pay for Game Pass to pay for itself. And that's not like that. That's like, the Game Pass, yes, is for you. They want you to try a whole bunch of different games. They want you to basically play a bunch. And if you don't like something, you don't have to play. You can be able to jump onto the next game. It's meant to be basically a streaming service where you get to just pick whatever you want to play, and that's it. That's the idea. And it also was toting day one games would be on Game Pass, and especially for Ultimate. Now that price is literally doubled since 2019. And we've added new tiers. We've added new whatever. Like this is even pre the Xbox Series X and S at the time. You got to remember that too, because the Xbox Series X and S came out in 2020, not in 2019. So now it's doubled, and now it essentially is like you have to if you have to pay for even inflation with everything that's happening, $70 per game. If you pay $70 for a premium game and you're paying $30 a month for Game Pass, basically you now have to play at least minimum 5 games. And I'm talking like 5 like significant games, the games that you put at least a decent amount of time into to make its money's worth. You now have to play at least 5 games a year in order for that for that service to pay for itself. So it's nearly double the amount of games that you have to play in order for it to be worth the price. Now, you could talk about basically Microsoft's sort of greed in all this. And actually, IGN had a video. I'm trying to be able to load up. It's I don't know why IGN just stopped loading for a second. But they have Ryan McCaffrey has an article / video up talking about this Xbox generation. We remember for one thing, greed. And I would actually I would agree with him in that sense. Because we've had about at least as he counted 2 hardware price increases for consoles. We've had at least 2 Game Pass price increases and counting. This is all and counting. And then we also are getting a brand new bit of hardware that is pretty expensive. We're talking like, I think it's $5.99 US. I can't remember what the Canadian price is, but it's $5.99 US for the cheaper ROG Xbox Ally X. And it's $1,000 for the it's $599 for the Xbox ROG Ally, and then it's $1,000 for the Xbox ROG Ally X, which in Canadian, it's $1,300. It's $1,300 for, I think it's like $12.99. It's $12.99. Let me double check that. ROG, Xbox, Ally, X, Canadian, Canada. Yeah, let's see price. Yeah, $12.99. $12.99 for the Ally X. It's $1,300 for this handheld device. And I get it. Okay. I get it. The way that the economy is, the way that inflation has happened, the way that tariffs are affecting hardware, and all that. I understand the global economic landscape that we are in right now. But when you look at Microsoft, and that's the other thing too. It's like, you got 2 hardware price increases, 2 Game Pass increases. You spent nearly $80 billion on buying studios and tens of thousands of layoffs. It is really hard to be able to basically even think about playing Xbox, even though we're in a point now where Xbox is actually releasing really good games, and they're on a regular cadence of releasing games. When just a few years ago, we were lucky to get 2 or 3 games a year from Xbox. Now we're getting a couple with it literally this month. We're getting Ninja Gaiden 4, we're getting Outer Worlds 2, and we're getting Keeper from Double Fine. We're getting those 3 within the same month. It's hard not to look at this and think of like, this is definitely, as Ryan said, it's basically Microsoft's greed sort of taking over. Now, I want to talk about the accessibility of all this too. I wanted to start off with that technically, but I got into the weeds of the pricing and all that stuff. But I want to talk about how this affects accessibility, because there was something that was said that from Paris Lilly over at Gamertag Radio that has resonated with me for a little bit. Paris had said that this is the worst generation of gaming we've ever had. And he's not talking in terms of game releases, because we've had some great games, amazing games over the course of this generation. But in regards to everything else, we've had layoffs, studio closures, cancellation of projects, price increases across the board, and just like a similar slow cadence of games coming out. Like we're like it all intents and purposes, this does seem like the worst generation of gaming. And I want to offer a little counterpoint to that. I don't disagree with Paris. I think actually he's right in regards to everything else. But when it comes to accessibility, this has been the best generation for accessibility. Because you got to remember, when this generation started, or literally just before it started, we had The Last of Us Part 2 in 2020. And a couple months later, we would get the PlayStation 5, we would get the Xbox Series X and S. And that's when the new generation started. So we're already going into this generation with the basically the bastion of the kind of the best of the best when it comes to accessibility with The Last of Us Part 2. And we've only gotten better ever since. You can argue basically that, oh yeah, no, like the industry hasn't fully caught up. It's not really at a point where accessibility is something that is being talked about as much anymore, or we're not seeing as many fully accessible games as Last of Us, or like you could argue a lot of that, the nuances of accessibility over the past couple of years. But when you break it down to like kind of looking at the bigger picture, accessibility has never been better than this. In fact, we've grown to a massive degree. I owe my career to the fact that accessibility has grown, has had a much bigger impact on the gaming industry than we ever thought possible. We have games that are coming out with accessibility menus. We have controllers being released, or adaptive hardware being released for both Xbox and PlayStation. We've had studios trying accessibility for the first time. People hiring literally jobs that include accessibility in their job title. We're seeing accessibility awards being given out at some of the prestigious awards that there is in the industry. We've seen careers being made because of accessibility. We are at a point in accessibility where this is the first true generation of proper accessibility considerations. Are we at a perfect place yet? As we're going into potentially the next generation of gaming, when we're looking at potential PlayStation 6 or Xbox Series whatever? No, I don't know. I don't like. I really like. It could get better. Yes, I hope it does. But I think that we should acknowledge the impact that accessibility has had on the industry. And it sucks that it happens to be in the kind of considered the worst generation of gaming. And people may even take that to argue it was accessibility's fault, that basically what ruined gaming. No, it isn't. If anyone ever thinks that accessibility has ruined gaming, you can just fuck right off. And I don't want to ever talk to you again unless you want to be able to actively listen to why accessibility is important. So accessibility is huge. Now, when it comes to this, like to today's news with Xbox basically like increasing their Game Pass prices, we used to talk about that this was the best value in gaming. You pay $15 a month and you get access to hundreds of games. You can play games that are released day one, and you get all the benefits of that. And it used to be $15, now it's $30. When you think about $30 a month, that is now pushing at a limit that regular average casual gamers are now going to have to look at the how much they're spending on a regular monthly basis on streaming and subscription based services, and they're looking to look at Xbox and be like, do I play enough games to warrant this $30 a month price? Now, that being said, you have to include the disabled players into this, because disabled players have a very limited income. In some cases, they are not even allowed to work more than a certain amount of hours or wage, because then they would lose disability benefits. Disabled people are most often below the poverty line than a lot of folks, even just regular casual gamers. And Game Pass was already starting to kind of get a little bit expensive. Again, with the last increase that was barely even just over a year ago, that there was talks about basically at that point, it's like, is Game Pass actually affordable or is the best value? And I always often said Game Pass was great for accessibility, because you can try out games that you never would have been able to try out before, because you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to pay the disability tax that we generally have to, where you pay for a game, you hope to be able to play it, and then you try it and you can't, and then you try to be able to get the refund for it. That's the disability tax. Or you have to pay for you have to pay an additional cost in order to be able to make anything accessible to you, like being able to buy a bunch of accessibility adaptive controller stuff. Having to pay that premium of a price. There's a lot of that into it. But Game Pass was always a good, like, something that I would suggest to people, to disabled players, being like, hey, get Game Pass. You can try out games day one, and you could, if they don't work for you, then you can just uninstall it, try a new one, and there's no money. There's not a lot of money lost there. But now it's at a point where it's going to be, in order to be able to have that same benefits, they have to really decide whether or not $30 is enough. And again, like I said, disabled people are sometimes below the poverty line. $30 a month is a lot. $30 is like food, like money for food, money for rent that is desperately needed. Gaming is becoming more and more, or has already become, a luxury hobby, or an enthusiast hobby, to the point where gaming is not as approachable anymore. And part of that, and a big part of that, is the cost. If you think about it, if you have never really bought any, if you never bought a console, I'm talking about console. We'll talk about PC in a second. When you go to a store, you want to buy a console. you're looking at about $600 to $800 easy just for the console itself, not even including a bunch of games on top of that. And games are even super expensive at $70 a pop. Some cases $80 to $100. And that's in the States. That's not even including in Canada, where games were already at a $90 price tag and now are $110. That's way too much for just anybody to be able to jump into, like, go to a Walmart or go to a Best Buy or go to a GameStop or EB Games and basically be like, I want to buy a PlayStation or I want to buy an Xbox. And now they're having to drop a cool $1,000 easy before they could really get anything, like, before they, just to get the basics. That it's going to get to a point where it's like, yeah, gaming is going to be a luxury item, and it already is. And it's basically now you're pricing out disabled people who want to play games, but they can't. The only bastion is PC gaming, right? I've kind of said at the beginning of this year, I believe that PC gaming is going to become a much bigger deal, because with consoles kind of getting more and more expensive, and exclusives are not necessarily the big thing anymore on PlayStation, and including Xbox, both of those studios combined. PC is winning out more than anything else. Because if you think about it, yeah, you gotta get a decent PC, but that PC can last several years, and you can always upgrade it every so often with newer hardware to be able to make it even better. And when you have services like Steam being literally probably the biggest, if not the most dominant gaming platform right now, or at least gaming storefront, where everybody goes to, including the AAAs. Like, for basically, if you had an okay PC, a PC you probably bought within the past, say, 5 years, you could play Hollow Knight Silksong for $20. Yeah, you have to pay for games kind of outright, but you could essentially be able to, like, play a bunch of games and find more hidden gems on the PC market than you can the console market. I have a feeling that the console market is probably going to be is going to die, and everything's just going to move into basically like a PC type world, which does mean for accessibility a lot more opportunities for more accessibility to be put into games. We're talking mods, accessibility mods that can be easily installed because of PC gaming. You have more adaptable hardware that it generally can be can, for the most part, be accessible and even hackable for a lot of disabled players. Right now, I say sort of, because the access controller by PlayStation doesn't have full PC support, which I still believe that they will do at some point. But the Xbox adaptive controller it totally works, and all the adaptive accessories that it works on PC. You can play a game on PC with just a regular controller. PC is right now becoming a lot more like a better thing. And that's the thing. Again, any PC that's been around for the past 5 years can play the games that we pretty much have that people are currently playing now. Remember the report we talked about? Like, I talked about this like 2 years ago, where I think it was like 60% of gamers are playing games that are 6 years or older. And we're talking Fortnite, we're talking Call of Duty Warzone, we're talking Minecraft, Roblox. These are games that have been around for longer than 6 years, if not around that point. And people are playing it because, hey, they keep offering new content, they keep updating it, and there's always new user-generated content to be able to kind of keep that part of the consumer base happy. It's at a point where pretty much, yeah, that makes sense. We're going to probably, I would say they're probably going to start playing back more of our backlog than ever before, because new games are just going to become expensive. And we're just going to get back to that. Now, is that fully accessible? Not really, because you still have to pay the disability tax. You have to pay basically the try out the game before, or you have to buy the game before it comes out, unless a game has a demo, which I am seeing more of. But I think you get my point, in that we're going to start in order for us to be able to to make this hobby like sustainable, we have to make some hard choices. And right now, we're at a hard choice where do we decide to keep our Xbox Game Pass subscription? I'm actually considering downgrading to premium because I don't want, like, yes, Xbox is one of my favorite consoles. The Series X is one of my favorite consoles. It's so dear to me because this is the one that the Xbox Series X that I currently have right now. My hand is really resting on it. It's on my desk. I have had this thing, like, this was the very, like, when I first started getting into this industry in 2020, this was the first time I ever got to review a console before launch. And it was sent to me. This was the first time I ever got to do that. And I couldn't thank Xbox more for providing that to me. And I do play my Xbox Series X quite a bit. But do I play enough Game Pass games specifically? Not as much as I used to. And it has nothing to do with, it's not the fault of Xbox. It's basically like, it's because I have a PlayStation as well. I have a PC. I have a Switch. I have multiple gaming handhelds right now. I definitely have a lot, but I'm also of that 1% of gamers where I have all of the consoles. But if we're talking about like maybe yourself as you're watching this, maybe you only have like one console or PC. I don't think it's kind of rare to be able to have more than one console right now. And that makes sense. And I'm sorry you have to kind of make that decision that whether or not to be able to even to keep Game Pass or not, or to even like invest in this gaming generation. But I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know. I honestly have no answer. I have no idea what the context to be. Xbox just keeps stepping on rakes every single chance it gets whenever it gets any kind of no momentum. And PlayStation's not that much better either, even though they just released games, a Ghost of Yotei today. PlayStation's even kind of like they're the only ones that kind of like are still at the very, like, that Nintendo, they're still kind of like, yeah, the console generation, there's still going to be a PS6, still, like, we got a Switch 2, and the Xbox is still going to be releasing new consoles. I don't know. The future of this industry is kind of in flux right now, and I don't know what that means. And I also don't know what that means for accessibility, whether with this current landscape, whether accessibility is going to be pushed forward, or is it going to be like this period of time for accessibility is going to be just a blip on the history of gaming, of the industry. I don't know. I hope not. I really do hope that there's going to be, like, especially for accessibility. Like, I need accessibility to be able to keep growing, because not just for myself and for other disabled gamers out there, but just for the benefit of the industry in general. So, do I think that the answer kind of pairs this question? Do I think this is the worst generation of gaming ever? Yes and no. We're pretty close to him, to like, I don't disagree with him. But we have yet to see what the next generation is going to be like, or whether or not this is going to be the last generation. Who knows at this point? But don't be surprised if we basically a PlayStation 6 comes out and we're paying $1,000 plus to be able to get it. Anyway, what do you think about all this? I know I've kind of jumped around a lot. I didn't I rambled quite a bit and ranted quite a bit and vented quite a bit. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I'd love to be able to see the conversation for sure. Anyway, that's going to be it for me. I hate to sort of start off the day on a weird note, but hey, it's been something that's been stewing in my head for the past 24 hours since this news came out, and I wanted to be able to tell it to you about it. So anyway, take care. Have yourself a great day. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye. Well, tomorrow. Well, maybe. We'll see. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.